about an interesting topic today,
Yeah.
which is basically, could you take a guess?
Ah, I don't know.
All
Ah,
right, so we're going to be talking about Agile. Okay.
oh, really? Already?
Yes,
Okay.
we're going
Nice.
to be talking about Agile. And like I said, do not worry. Let me just open this one up here. Sorry. Yes. So pretty much, business analysis shouldn't be something too um technical. That's one. Business analysis shouldn't be something too difficult for people to handle. You just need to understand the frameworks around each and everything that you're doing or each and every area that you're doing, and then you can as well just run off or move off from there. It's a very, very interesting field, and it's like I said, it deals with a lot of you communicating with your colleagues, your
Yeah.
co-workers, your clients, customers, and you basically just getting information from them. We basically analyzed like the fields and areas that you need to focus on, the key knowledge areas, the principles, the rules, all those things are pretty much what you need to know. If there is any need for any textbook version for anything that you need to know, of course you can do more research, and that's where things like the IIB, BABOK um, document comes in, where you can read up like 700 to 1,000 pages about business analysis,
Yeah.
right? So that's basically what business analysis entails, right? It's just like you being playing a soccer match, right? Yeah, there are basics that you need to explain for you to able to play, for you to be able to play. There's some things that would become more clearer to you when you start playing, as opposed to when you're just being told
Yeah.
about what to do while playing, right? So yeah, there's some things you just find out yourself along the way, and you basically can just run off from there. Okay, so we're going to be talking about agile. Agile is a very, very interesting topic because it's a methodology itself. And what's a methodology? From the word method, which is a way of doing something, which is a style of doing something, right? And if you think about it from that angle, from that perspective, what you need to ask yourself is, why is a methodology important in a BA's life? Methodology is important in a BA's life because you're basically going through a process, and you're basically building a product. And if you don't have a methodology that helps you and that guides you to how to build that on how to build that product, you're going to fall into a lot of trap. And that trap comes whereby you basically just miss what you're doing. One, you don't have its technique, or you don't have a defined process on how you do this, right?
Yeah.
So how you basically, if they say, oh, what's the methodology to you sending a text message on your phone? The first thing you do is to tap your screen or to press the power button. The next thing you do is to put your face ID or to press your password. Next thing you do is to go to WhatsApp. Next thing you do is to select the person's name and then chat. That is a methodology, right? On how to basically send a message to somebody. So
Yeah.
methodology is just a simplified process and a simplified set of steps that you need to follow that gives you a particular outcome. So agile is a methodology. Agile itself is a methodology, like I said, from the word agile, is was derived from the word agility. And when you say agility, something is quick, something is
Mm.
fast, something is swift. Imagine you went to a restaurant where you were trying to get an order, and the waiter is like, you could literally see from the waiter's body language that you're not up on your feet. You're not
Yeah.
quick. You're not swift. You're not. Oh, imagine they come to you. You ask them. You place an order for cappuccino and probably like a donut. And then they come back to you in like 2 minutes and they say, "Oh, what did you place again? I'm sorry, I can't remember." You're like, and then they come back again. Did you say cappuccino?
Yeah.
So all those things piss people off, and it's just the same way. So like I said, comparing like the role of the BA, you're literally a waiter taking orders. So you need to make sure that you have a system and process that you follow, just so you don't run into error while you're gathering quote unquote your requirements. Okay, does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so Agile is the most popular methodology in in the BA world, in the sense that again, the methodology is really, really acceptable. From the word agile, something is quick, something is fast, something is flexible, something is able to, like this athlete is very, very agile. Like you're up on your feet, you're quick, you're swift. So the entire agile framework or the entire agile methodology, everything you're doing is swift, quick, and fast. Okay,
Yes.
swift, quick, and fast, and that's why they say agile is a mindset. Okay, you need to be, it's not, you can't, so every BA has the ability to think on their feet. Every BA has the ability to be swift. Every BA has the ability to be fast and everything else. But when they say agile is a methodology, it's a mindset rather. It's you yourself deciding to be very agile. Like you need to make things as quickly as possible, make decisions as fast as possible, move on to the next thing because we don't have so much time. Do you understand? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why they always say agile is a mindset. It's a mindset. You could take that same framework into another environment and it could be slow as hell. And you could take that same framework to a particular environment and it could be as swift as possible. Give me one moment, please. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm so sorry about that. So agile is basically swift. Agile is quick. Agile is you could take that type of orientation. When I mean orientation, the system and process of you doing something to another environment and it could be completely slow. Timotheus could have a system whereby it's the same orders and everything else. You could take that same type of system that they use in Timotheus to Mr. Biggs. And why does it take you 10 minutes to order stuff at Timotheus and it takes you 30 minutes to order the same thing as in Mr. Biggs, despite the fact that they're using the same system and process? And that's why they say agility, yeah, agile is the mindset. So the people using this system, they have to be quick, they have to be willing to take it. uh,
Um,
do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's
yes.
why the word comes from, the agile is the mindset. It's not something you could implement the best systems and processes in place. You could have the best systems in place. And if you don't have an agile mindset, that system could still be slow. When I mean that system, I'm not talking about the software. I'm talking about like the entire process.
Yeah.
Could yeah, could still be slow because the people using this are not agile, right? Give me an example. You put 70-year-old people in charge of taking orders, 70, 80, 90-year-old people in charge of taking orders. It's the same system, but are they agile?
No.
They can't be agile because of their, like, they're probably old. Some of them have back pains, that type of
Oh,
thing.
okay, okay,
Do you
okay.
understand? Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm trying to say? So it's essentially the same. You can implement different systems or very similar systems, but the people using the systems themselves have to be agile.
Yeah.
And that's
Mm.
why they say it's a mindset. Okay. All
Okay.
right. So we're going to be talking about um, the motivation, plan driven versus agile software development, introduction to Scrum, a very interesting one, principles and practices, the tools, example project for agile management with GitLab. We're not going to be getting there. We're just going to be taking some of this and running off with this. We have how many documents now? Three other documents to go through today. Okay. All right. So if you take a look at this, it says scientific software does not end its development life cycle on publication of the paper. So we already spoke about this before, that product management's life cycle does not end. You have to
Yeah.
keep, yes,
Keep on going.
right. Reproducibility, I'm sorry, reproducibility of scientific results requires sustainable software. Okay. Learn from the industry, be a rapid software, blah, 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 becomes the standard methodology for developing. All this is just English. What this means is that for the industry where rapid software development is paramount, you need to have a sustaining complex, you need to develop sustaining processes to doing stuff. Okay. All right.
Mm.
So why is agile development such a success story? Okay, agile development accelerates the delivery speed. Okay, all right. In contrast to plan-driven software development is a lengthy process. Plan-driven development software is basically like waterfall, and I'm going to explain the difference between the two, waterfall and agile, eventually, because I have a document that does justice to that. Okay, agile methods can handle changing requirements. That's part of also why it's important, or why is it important? It can handle changing requirements. When I mean changing requirements, there is a process. So think of you as the server again, or you as the waitress, or yeah, waitress in a restaurant. Agile methods can handle changing requirements. What's the changing requirement? Someone places their hand and say, "Hi, I made an order for this, and this. Is it too late to change it? I would like to change it." Now, that person could take that information and say, do you know what? It's going to take me about 10 minutes to go back to this and try to explain to this person that this customer has changed their order. I don't think it's necessary, right? Or think about a 70-year-old woman telling them, or 70-year-old or 80-year-old man telling them that you want to change your order. They're really going to be slow to implementing
Yeah.
that. But if you're telling someone that is quick and up their feet, they are able to run fast and go back to the kitchen and
Go
say,
back.
"Guys, do you understand, guys? We need to change this order as quickly as possible." Boom. And that's why it says here that agile methodologies can handle changing requirements.
Yeah.
Simple. Okay. All right. So we need to know the difference between a plan-driven versus agile software. Also, plan-driven is an heavyweight traditional methodologies, upfront systems, architecture, blah blah blah. Completely specifies requirements, design, build, and test environments. Uses are a conventional waterfall. Okay, uses are a conventional waterfall or specification-based software development process. So again, plan-driven is with agile. You plan, but you are flexible with your plan.
Yeah.
And when they say you're flexible with your plan, essentially what that means is that if something new comes up, you're able to take it and adjust.
Okay.
With a plan driven approach, it's not that you're going from system to system, process to process to process. Nothing can disrupt it. The reason why waterfall is less preferred than agile is because if you think of waterfall, think of a flowing stream.
Yeah.
There are scenarios whereby the water needs to go back up, but in waterfall, it just goes down. I give you an example. With waterfall, if you're building this phone, for example, if you want to build this phone,
Yeah.
waterfall would build all this, like will build the entire the glass, the software, the cameras, the what's it called now? The buttons, the charging ports, and everything else before you eventually test out.
Yeah.
What Agile does is Agile will build this camera, test the camera, build the back case, check if it is fall resistant,
Yeah.
build the screen, test the screen, build the charging port, test if it's working, then assemble everything together to know that okay, yes, we have a phone. With waterfall, they could build all this entire phone finish and then find out that
It's like that
this thing
something
is
is
not
wrong.
working, something is wrong. So the system with waterfall is we already had a plan, we are not going back on it. This is what we are doing. There's no, oh, this thing is not working. Let's go back to the factory. No, with waterfall, it's not like that.
So like there's no like flexibility basically, something like
Thank
that.
you. There's no flexibility. It's just a one-way street. We've said we want to do X, Y, and Z. We're not going back on anything else. We're doing X, Y, and Z. With Agile, you can say you want to do X, Y, and Z. By the time you're done with X, you see that X is not too good. Let's build X again. So if they were building a human body in waterfall, you build the eyes, build the nose, build the ears, build the heart, build the lungs, build it, and then at the final stage, you know, say, okay, let's wake him up and see if he's awake or if he can, if he can come to life.
Yeah.
And something could have gone wrong with agile. By the time you build the hand, they will test the hand. Does it work?
Working.
Build the eyes. They say, okay, can we see through the lenses of these eyes? Does it work? Check the lungs, check the heart. They do all that and then they assemble it together. So you build as quickly as possible, test, and then add it on. Build quickly as possible, test, add it on. Build quickly as possible, test, and add it on. With waterfall, you could spend $200 million on a project and you find out that this project is not what it
Not
is.
working. Yeah.
Agile, you could spend less of the money and build a very working product.
Okay.
I was gonna tell you that. Could you give me an example of a company that wasn't agile? An example was BlackBerry.
Yeah, I remember that was what came to my mind because of you people's example in class.
hmm
Yeah.
BlackBerry essentially was not agile in the sense that the App Store had come into the game to change the game. You guys are supposed to build your own, but they were still banking on one thing that sold the BlackBerry phones, the BBM. App Store created a marketplace where people could, where designers and creators could build an app,
Yeah.
right? And then they could put it on the iPhone. So as opposed to you just having one chat message, why not just have 300 different chat apps? Whatever people want to decide to use,
Yeah.
they use. So BlackBerry saw that, and then they were very complacent. They were like, nothing can beat this BBM thing, despite the fact that they had a billion plus users or so. So they just relaxed and they were not agile to that type of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So they just thought that building this stuff, nobody's really going to use it, right? So they just basically relaxed. So if you take a look at this waterfall model, so from your requirements definition, you go to your system and software design, your you're implementing and unit testing, integration and system testing, operation and maintenance. One stage must be completed before progress to the next stage. That's waterfall. Once we are done with X, we go to Y. Once we are done with Y, we're going to Z,
Mm.
right? That's what waterfall is. And that's why if you look at the shape of this, it's like waterfall. And that's why they
Yeah.
call it waterfall. You make a plan and you do not change it. That is waterfall. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
the BlackBerry team already made a plan that look, this was supposed to be their product strategy. This is supposed to be what they are doing. They made that plan already and they were not ready to change it whatsoever. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Despite the
Right.
market and things
Right. Despite
happening.
what the market was saying that look, guys, some new guys have come into the game. Oh, they introduced the touch screen, a full touch screen phone. When are you going to do that? They didn't bother about that. And it's due to poor management strategy, poor management style and whatever it is, but they were not agile enough to be able to catch up. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, agile says that look, the moment you develop something and the market is saying something else, go back to your drawing board and go and do it. And go and try to copy or go and try to implement your own system into it in such a way that when you launch out, you're able to still corner the market.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with agile development, it's very much different. Agile development, there's a need for rapid software development. Process has been recognized for many years. Okay. The idea of agile methods took off in the late 90s. Okay, well, we don't need to know about all this history. Okay. All right. It's a methodology, a set of methods and practices. We already spoke about that. A way of executing system, a way of executing software development management and stuff, right? It's just a way of you implementing them. Like I said, it's not like the system is different in Agile or the process that you're building is different. No, it's just a way you implement and how you become like quick and fast to doing stuff. Okay. Agile is also iterative in the sense that iteration is the main concept in Agile. Iteration is a cycle. Okay,
Yeah.
a cycle, and then there's always an upgrade. So you're not just doing cycle 1.1, and then the next cycle is still 1.1, is 1.2, and then you're going in that cycle 1.3, you're going in that cycle. The work is done in tight cycles. You can see so-called sprints. I'm going to explain what sprint is as well. The plan is constantly revisited. The plan does not say, oh, we cannot change our plan. Oh, we start with this, or we said we were going to do this. No, you can change your plan anytime. But you must change your plan to be able to make sure that things are very, very quick for you to do.
Yeah.
Right? Right. It's these are benefits. It's a methodology that helps in software development. It's iterative, it's streamlined, it favors getting the work done, it's time boxed. So if you have a project that you do not have a timeline, when I mean you do not have a timeline, um, if you had a project that if you're working on a project, right, would you
Yeah.
want to use waterfall or agile? And my second question is, if you're working on a product, would you want to use waterfall or agile? I mean, I think I explained the difference between the two.
Yeah. So if I'm working on a project,
Project,
okay, project, let's say
yes.
a project.
Would you want to use agile or
Well,
waterfall?
I think I would use for both. I think I would use agile because of changes and things like that. I don't know.
Good, good. Agile actually saves a lot of time, stress, and money.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, I think agile is very, very good. There's still some organizations that are hell bent on using waterfall
For
for what for God knows what. Government organizations.
in particular,
Oh, yes, they had a budget. This is the plan. There's nothing changing it.
even if it benefits no one.
Even if it benefits no one, they will still do it. Ade, do you ever see any government that is agile? They're usually stuck on the waterfall processes. An example is the Nigerian government. If there's anything more than waterfall, those guys are hell bent. We had the budget. This is what we are doing. Even if the building or even if the technology they are trying to implement is outdated, they already
Yeah.
had that plan, and that's what they are sticking to.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Our country.
So, so with what's it called now? With agile, it's very much different. You're able to do stuff as fast and as quick as possible, right? All right. So agile methods and processes. You have different agile methods and processes. Okay.
Yeah.
There's extreme programming, there's Scrum, there's large scale Scrum, there's Kanban, and there are other processes as well. Okay, so essentially, these processes are like types of agile methods that we do have. You know, we said agile is a mindset, then the method
Yeah.
is how you do stuff. In focus, we are going to be discussing Scrum. We are not talking about extreme programming. I would say 90% of the tech companies use Scrum. How did
Scrum.
you ever see it? I would say 90% Scrum, 5% Kanban, and then the other percentages can be allocated to different stuff. And some of these guys could use a blend of Scrum and Kanban. Okay, but the focus is Scrum. Me myself, I've not seen any organization use extreme programming, large scale Scrum. Maybe a company that is a multinational can have like 20,000 employees and they can use a large scale Scrum. But we're going to be talking about Scrum, which is an agile methodology in process. Okay. Um, just give me one moment. Plan driven approach is you make a plan and you do not change it. Agile is constantly revisit the plan just to make sure that we are doing something meaningful and tangible. Agile methods are designed to produce useful software quickly. That's the most important thing. Speed, 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 speed. In
Yeah.
software development, speed is like your greatest advantage. The first to get to market corners the market. Imagine you trying to start up an iPhone, not an iPhone, a phone company that could beat Apple right now. Is it possible for you to do that?
Yeah.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Are you saying it's possible?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Except your this thing is like crazy good, like
You wanna
except
you
it's
wanna
out
you
of
wanna
this world. Because I don't know like what big
yeah.
Samsung
If
comes close, but it's not really like
right.
great.
So I honestly I say this out of what's it called now? Out of humility and everything else, but I don't think it's possible because it's too late.
Yeah.
It's way too late. Even if you had a war chest, and when I mean war chest, capital of like $1 billion, you can't beat those guys. You can't beat those guys. It's too late, and it's
Only
because they were first to market. They were first to do it. They were first. So in software development, I would say winner takes all. But if you're able to persistently build your product quickly, it's very possible for you to also beat them if you plan to do that in the next 30 to 40 years. Yes. It's very possible.
Yeah.
If your company is more agile than them, and if you guys have enough capital, it's very possible to beat them within the next 40 to 50 years. Not anytime soon.
Now, yeah. They're
Because
always constantly making new
yes, they're
things,
always constantly making stuff.
updating software.
So BlackBerry came 5 years before them. And not even 5 years before them. Let me see the year BlackBerry was launched. BlackBerry. So
99.
BlackBerry, yes, BlackBerry launched 1999. Apple launched 71. I don't know for the life of me what they were making, but Apple was making computers. They were not making phones yet. Okay, so BlackBerry
Ah,
was just focused on phones. 2007 compared to
oh,
1999, right?
8 years.
So yeah, 8 year gap. But they were able to take that and say, okay, I think we need to go into this and then move. But BlackBerry had been doing that since like 99. BlackBerry wasn't doing, I don't think they're doing anything called such as what's it called now? Laptops, desktops. No, I don't think they were doing that at the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Did they
anyways,
still exist though?
BlackBerry,
Yeah. Or
I
was the
don't
company sold?
I think they got bankrupt,
Oh,
filed for
shame.
bankruptcy. Yeah, they've probably filed for bankruptcy at this time. Let me see.
I
Look at their
feel
website. Look at their website, my goodness. Anyways, um, subsidiaries, key people, founded 1984, Ontario, Canada. Wow.
really here. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I'm trying to check their Wikipedia. I think they're still in business. They are still in business. So they could have a comeback if they know what they're doing.
True.
So yeah, it goes back to the conversation that we're having. So we're going to be talking about Scrum, introduction to Scrum. I think I've showed you a picture of where the word Scrum comes from. It's from rugby, right? Which is a lot of people rugby. A lot of people just coming together to basically just work. So you don't, yes, this is a picture, a very clear picture, right? So you don't know who is doing the most work from this. You usually have this. I told you it could be a products manager, it could be a scrum master. This
Yeah.
person, other person who is officiating, could be someone in the scrum team. They're just making sure everybody's working fine. So this guy behind could be the product manager. This guy could be the scrum master, and this is the entire product team. So you have the developers. It's not as if they're fighting against each other, but they're just working with each other to be able to achieve a particular goal, which is win or churn out a product very quickly. So they are everybody's closely working together to make sure things are able to move as quickly as possible. And in Scrum, nobody really takes the glory for the work. Everybody's working together.
Yeah.
Do you get? Everybody's holding each other's and working together to make sure that stuff is working. So if you can see these guys, they're basically officiating. So this could be your product manager, scrum master, and some other people, maybe you as a BA, but you have your team working together to make sure you guys achieve the goal. So that was where the word Scrum came from. This is another picture. That was where the word Scrum came from. Okay, Scrum
Yeah.
is an agile method offering lightweight project management framework for effective team collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't need history about Scrum. Okay, all right. So introduction to Scrum. With waterfall, again, it's you plan, you build, you test, you review, you deploy. Okay. With Scrum, you plan, you build, you test and review, and then go back.
Yeah.
Plan, build, test, review. Plan, build, test, review. The ice, you plan for the ice, you build the ice, you test the ice, you review the ice, and then you go to the next thing. You plan the nose, you build the nose, you test the nose, you go to the next thing. The lungs, you plan the lungs, you build the lungs, you test the lungs, you go to the next thing. With waterfall, you plan the ice, build the ice, you test the ice, you review the ice. This is basically what waterfall is, not ice per se, but like the entire body. We plan it, we build it, we test it, we review it, and then we deploy.
Oh,
But like with your review, most importantly, review is like one thing waterfall doesn't always have,
yeah,
right? You have to build the entire process, and then when you're done, you move to the next thing. Okay. So it says several incremental releases called sprint. So this
yeah,
entire thing that you're looking at, the process of you doing that is called a sprint.
yeah,
So you're having a sprint. Sprint is basically you just planning meetings on how to be able to do stuff. That's what sprint is. You have a timeline of, okay, between 1 to 2 weeks, this is what we are going to be working on. And during that phase, we are going to plan, we're going to build, we're going to test, and we're going to review between that sprint. So you can have two, three, four different sprints for a product launch.
yeah,
Okay. All right. So we have a Scrum team, right? And we have three roles. Again, if you take a look at this guy here, there's always somebody outside of like the entire box watching
yeah,
them, right? There's always some set of people out of the entire box watching the Scrum team. Go back to that document. So your product owner, you already know the role of the product owner is the one accountable for the entire product.
yeah,
Okay. Your Scrum Master, is basically removing impediments just to make sure everybody's working effectively. So your Scrum Master could be something like this guy with the whistle. Oh, guys, I think we're already okay. Let me use this guy. Guys, I think we're already slacking. Guys, your computer is not working. Okay, why is it not working? Oh, are you able to have this meeting? Are you when I mean impediments, anything that is going to make
slow
people
down the
injure
progress.
themselves here, this guy is responsible for it.
Oh,
Anything that is not going to make people like injure themselves here, this guy is responsible for it. So maybe when someone starts to shout that, oh, I'm having back pain, it blows the whistle and comes in and says, guys, stop. I think we need to start again. Do you get?
yes,
So take a look. You can see that this guy is almost blowing the whistle. Do
yeah,
you understand? So that's basically what the Scrum Master is. The Scrum Master is basically the one that says, okay, this is the amount of meetings that it's going to take us to be able to achieve this goal. This is the amount of stuff that when I mean stuff that we need to do, this is the amount of like meetings just to make sure everybody's in the right headspace, right right headspace. Everybody's working perfectly well. Nothing is like impeding people from doing their job. That's what the Scrum Master is doing. Just making sure that everything, like the Scrum approach is basically done well and properly. Do you get? So these are
yeah,
the three roles. You have your product owner, you have your Scrum Master, and then the Scrum team. You as a product owner, you can be a BA and you can have a Scrum Master in an organization. They could have a product owner and they could have a BA working together. They can have a Scrum Master and then they could have the team, the tech team. So engineers, designers, um, testers.
yeah,
You can already see this guy's holding stuff. He looks like an engineer already. She gets designer. She gets holding stuff and testing stuff. So in another organization, they could eliminate this guy like, look, we don't need any Scrum Master here. We just need a product owner and a product team.
yes,
This product owner will do the work of the Scrum Master as well.
okay,
G gets
yeah,
in scenarios whereby they could do the work of the they could do the work of the Scrum Master. So think of Scrum Master as you being like I said, referee, just to make sure that people are working well.
yeah,
Okay. All right. I'm gonna move on to introduction to Scrum. So there are things called artifacts in Scrum. These artifacts are very, very important. Artifacts are, if they say artifacts, it's basically like a collection of things, a collection of um n- uh, documents. When I mean document, I don't want to use the document not to sound textbook, but artifact is like important history. If you ask me now what's an artifact, I'll say something important to the history of something, or
yeah,
like a history of something that happened XYZ. Do you get? So if you remember all those notes that you gathered in a restaurant,
Yeah.
Those are part of your artifact evidence. So it could be maybe like an interview recording. That's also an artifact, something that contributes to um something that is tangible, not tangible, but tangible or intangible, because you can't see a recording, you can only hear it. Something that you can add as part of evidence. So think of artifacts as evidence. Artifacts for your requirements are things that you used or that you can always reference to. Maybe it's recording, maybe it's a survey questionnaire that you used, or maybe it's a notepad that you wrote it on. All those things are part of your artifact.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Okay. All right. So your product backlog is basically a collection of where a backlog is a collection of where you like put all these things according to, okay, we did this requirement, we did this requirement is up next. So that's what your product backlog is. You turn them into a particular place and say, okay, this is what we've done, this is what we're able to do, this is what we want to do, right? It's just a collection of what the things that you've done and the things you also plan to do. That's your product backlog. So again, backlog is a place where you keep information, category by category, this and this. Okay. So we have sprint backlogs as well. I'm going to talk about that. User stories, we're going to talk about that. Burn down chats, we're also going to talk about that. Okay. So user stories are basically user and then story. You writing a story from the perspective of the user. That's a user story. All right. So give me an example of anything, just anything that comes to your any product that comes to your head.
The product. Mm. Headphones is a product now.
Good. Now, if you want to write a user story, there's an acceptable way you write a user story, right? As a I need dash so that dash. As a student, I need headphones just so that I can listen to my class recordings while walking to school. As a
Okay.
student, I need an headphones just so that I can listen to music while studying. As a student, I need an headphones so that I can have video calls and I don't have to hold my phone while walking on the bus. As a student, I need an headphones so that XYZ, something. So if they're saying user stories, you don't write 2 pages. Again, you want something to be swift,
Guys.
fast, and concise. Again, you're not looking for, oh, this person said, you're summarizing what this person said in 2 or 3 sentences
Exactly.
at the very most, as opposed to you writing 10 pages of saying they said that now eventually resulted to. So when they say a story, the contradicting thing about the story is in software development, a story is not a story. A story is 3 lines
Yes.
or 4 lines at most. That's the story.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says with your sprint backlog is as a user, I need to be able to dash so that I can dash. That's your story. That's the user story. So most of the time you're thinking from this not thinking from this user's perspective. But if they give you their requirements, you're supposed to transform it into a user story.
Yes.
As a user of these headphones, I want to be able to dash so that I can dash. As a user, the person using it, I need, what do you need? What do you need? Is it a feature that you need? What do you want to use it for?
Yeah.
So, who are you? What do you need? Why do you need it? So, this first one answers the who, the what do you need. The last one is why do you need it? And that's how you generate a user story in Agile. Who needs what the person needs, why the person needs it, and you're good. If you're able to simplify all that into those 3 questions, as a um student, I need Learn so that I can download course materials.
Yeah.
That's all. That interview could last 1 hour, and that's just the three lines of what they want.
Months. Yeah.
So they could give you a 1 hour meeting of yes, the reason why we want, but it's just three lines. As a student, I need learn so that I can XYZ. As a lecturer, I need learn just so I could get
Oh,
the assignments when need be. That's all.
yeah.
Do you understand? It's
Yes.
as simple as that. And that's how you write a user story. Who, what, and why.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Right. So there are ceremonies, of course. Okay. So remember these things: artifacts, ceremonies. Artifacts are like things that are important. When I mean things that are important, like it could be a document, it could be a recording, it could be something. Do you get that's an artifact that contributes to that helps that tells you more about something.
Yeah.
So artifacts of the Benin Kingdom could be like the crown, the Oriolokun, the like those are artifacts. Something that can just show you that oh, this is what you're trying to talk about. So part of the Scrum artifact is a product backlog, sprint backlog, your burn down charts. When they say burn down charts, it means like your goals. Okay, this sprint that we spoke about,
Yeah.
were you able to achieve it? Okay, this one we completed 90. We had a completion rate of 90%. This one we had a completion rate of 100. This one 50. This one 30. Burn down charts now shows you how well do you get how well you were able to complete it. Like it just shows you stats that guys, the product owner can now take a look at this burn down chart and say, okay, guys, I think we've not been very agile. Look at our burn down charts dropping. That means our productivity level is dropping.
Dropping. Okay.
Do you understand? That's what literally a burn down chart shows. Let's see if you can get other examples. So you can see this one. See this one shows the sprint days. Sprint days is the days like when those meetings that you have on day
Yeah.
one. You can see the pending hours, like you can see the burn down chart coming down.
Yeah.
Let's see another one. Actual work, estimated work remaining, line, ideal line,
I do like.
story points. So you could just see, so it's just for your team to be able to take a look at these things. And you guys are like, Omo, we need to actually work on our efficiency rate.
Yeah.
You get. So that's what it is. That's what a burn down chart is. Um, so yeah, ceremonies. Scrum has terminologies. So when you say a ceremony is an event,
Okay.
right? That's a ceremony, it's an event. Sprint planning is a ceremony in Scrum, right? Sprint planning is the what you're trying to do. So when they say sprint, you're trying to go from one place to one place, right? That's a sprint
Yeah.
in a short amount of time. In a short amount of time. Sprint planning is you saying, okay, this is what we want to do from here to here. You deciding on doing that, that's already an event, correct?
Yeah.
And that's why they call sprint planning a ceremony. Okay, how long is it going to take us? What are we going to do within the next 1 to 2 weeks or 1 to 3 weeks? All that meeting that you're having with your entire team, that is sprint planning.
Yeah.
So sprint planning probably happens once, the first time you ever plan it, and say, okay, look, so it's just like you having ceremonies in a marriage life. So you go from asking a babe out to you getting engaged. They used to call something promise ring. It's promise ring stage. From the promise ring stage, engagement. When I mean engagement, it's proposal I'm talking about. From
Yeah.
proposal, you're going to introduction of parents and everything. From
Yeah.
there, you do court wedding. From court wedding, you do white wedding,
Traditional
traditional wedding,
public.
and then white wedding. That's already like 6 things for just you getting married to somebody. So those are
Yeah.
ceremonies. Do you understand? So
Yes.
with this one, there's also sprint planning as well. Sprint planning is like you planning for the overall. approach on how you guys are going to do stuff. Okay, what are we
Yeah.
working on? Why are we working on this? Why is it important to work on this on right now? That's what you're doing when you're planting your sprints. Like, okay, team, I think we need to work on this. We need to do this. We need to do that. What do you think?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Daily Scrum is every single day. Scrum takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Daily Scrum meetings should take about 10 to 15 minutes. What do you guys do during that 10 to 15 minutes? Hi, Mary. What did you work on yesterday? What are you planning on working today?
Or just
Two
like up.
questions. Yes, updates. What did you work on yesterday? What are you working on today? That's your daily Scrum. So your daily Scrum between these guys, product owner, Scrum Master, and the entire team. Scrum product owner comes on team, or the BA comes on the team and says, guys, so from the engineering team, what did you work on yesterday? Oh yeah, we worked on pushing a particular feature. We did this, we did that, we did this. Okay, what are you working on today? Oh yeah, we already pushed from yesterday, but today we're going to be doing XYZ, and then hopefully we're able to deploy. Okay, that's good. That's good. Designing team. What did you guys work on yesterday? Oh yeah, we already built out the interface. We're just sending it to our managers to approve it, and once they approve it, we're able to like send it to the tech team. Okay, that's good. Then what are you working on today? Then they say, okay, we are planning on working on the second design that they gave to us from the requirements, and we are planning on pushing that today. Oh yeah, yeah, that's good. QA, what are you working on today? Oh yeah, the development team test sent us like a particular user interface to test, so we are
Yes.
just doing that. We did that yesterday, and today we are planning on sending them a feedback. That's all.
Yeah. And all this will be like recorded in the sprint backlog.
Yes.
Oh,
So as a BA, you're just so all this will be recorded in. That's a good question. What you're saying is how do you track?
yeah.
So there's a software they call there are softwares that different organizations use. There's the most popular one is Jira. Jira. Jira is basically a place where you can go to and all these things after your meetings at the BA, you go and log them in. This is where we
Oh,
are. So your product manager or your product owner can go and look at Jira and say, okay, this is what we spoke about this morning. It has been updated. Jira has been updated. So in real time, even if it's not in the even if it's not in the meeting and you have a meeting with your team, you can go to Jira and say, okay, this is where we are at this time with this, with that.
oh.
Just see how everything is coming
Um,
together,
yeah.
right? So they are able to track and look at it on their phones. That's your daily Scrum meeting. Sprint review is at the end of after we plan, we build, we test, and then we review.
Yeah.
This review is what did we do wrong? What could we have done better? What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we continue doing more of? What should we continue to do less of? Okay, so I'm just going to use an example for all of these processes. All right, so you're planning on building the iPhone. Your team comes together and says, look, guys, technically, we're going to be building this iPhone, and we want it to have two cameras, to have in this dimensions, we wanted to do this, we wanted to do that. They list all that. Do you get?
Yes.
That's part of your requirement too. You already have your requirements already. You're not generating new requirements. The
Yeah.
question is in your sprint plan, what are we starting with?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
The overall goal is to build this iPhone. Do
Yeah.
you get? Is to make this iPhone. Your users have given you a requirement. We want something with two cameras at the back. We want something with a power button. We want something that has a face recognition. Those are all your requirements.
Yes.
Your sprint planning is now that we have all these requirements in a product backlog, what are we starting with?
Okay.
Are we starting with the cameras first? Then during that when we are building the cameras, it's now called we plan to build the camera, we build it, we test it, we on to the next. So once we plan, we build, we test, we review, we go to this next, we go to the sprint backlog, put this to the back, We are done with it. What's the next thing? They said we should build. If okay, we plan for it, we build, we test. So sprint one, sprint two, sprint three. Oh, that's all you are doing
Yeah.
with your team. So during the process as well, your user requirements. You know, if you remember, like that requirement that we spoke about in. How do I explain this? Yeah, okay. The business requirement documents, right, is just like the overall stuff. Do you get like the chunk
Yes.
of it? Do you get your business
Yes.
requirement document is really essential because it's really essential because you need something defined. Do you get?
Yes.
Now, when you're trying to build that out, your business doc is not what you're using. You're just taking it out. I'll give you a very clear example.
Sorry, could you repeat
I'll
what
give
you
you a very
just
clear
said?
example.
I don't know. It's like
I
cracking.
will. Okay, so your business requirement document is just like the overall like document summary of where you can see what is going on, what we are trying to do,
Yes.
right? With
Yes.
Agile, you don't need to be going to that business requirements back and forth. I give you an example now. You know, we said like the business requirement document is like what it has the functional and the non-functional requirements, and then the
Yeah.
concluding and supporting part of it.
Yes.
When you're trying to build stuff, okay, this is a book of your requirements. This book is a book of your requirements, right?
Yes.
When you're trying to build stuff out in Agile, how do you read? You're saying you're trying to be fast, but how do you read all these documents as quickly as possible and be able to implement it? What you then do is you go to your requirement part, you establish it. When I mean establish it, you take it out.
Yeah.
You take it out and say, okay, this is what they want, this is what they want.
Yeah.
Of course, they signed off of this document. And what this means is that this is the actual requirements that they want.
Yeah.
Do you get?
Yes.
Now, I give you an example. During the requirements gathering, we found out that Funari said he wants a laptop that has a hard drive of 1 terabyte, that has a touch screen, that has all this, that has all that. I'm reading a paragraph from my business requirement document. It's
Yeah.
still summarized though. In Agile, nobody has that time. Okay? What you do
Yeah.
is you want a laptop, you want this, you want this, you want that, you want that. All that is from here. Then you go to your products backlog and put that in. This is what they want,
Oh,
this is what they
this is
want, this
what
is
it
what they
is.
want, this is what they want, this is what they want. If you now want to go into the detail of it, you can go back to your business requirement document. If you want to still go back to your business requirement document, you can still now go back to your recordings from those interviews.
Oh, okay.
So think about it. You had a thousand pages of notes of this, of that during your interview, during your survey stage. Putting that into a business requirement document is probably going to like 100 pages. What
Yes.
am I saying? 10 pages. You have summarized everything. Going into the product backlog is 1 page.
Yeah. So you even need
So
to
it's
push.
summary of the summary of the summary.
Yeah.
So if you even you want to track it out, oh, where's this requirement from? Go back to your BRD. In your BRD, where's your stuff from? You can then trace it back and say, okay, this was a particular interview session that we had. Then
Yeah.
you can have more clarity. Do
That
you
makes
understand?
sense. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So again, so when you're writing your product backlog, it's probably like just something short.
Short.
Then if they say, oh, they already established it, in your interview with me, you're telling me you had a 30 minute interview and told me why you needed an iPhone. That 30 minutes, you spoke 20, I spoke 20 of those minutes. When I mean I spoke 20 of those minutes, or you spoke 20 of those minutes, Flora, I need an iPhone. I need an iPhone because of this, because of that. I said, okay. I was listening to you during the 20 minutes or 30 minutes call. In my BRD, that's probably like 3 paragraphs. In my products backlog is 1 paragraph.
Yeah.
Again, this is what they want. In fact, might not even be 1 paragraph, maybe 2 lines. This is what they want, this is what they want, this is what they want. That's all you need to know. Boom. Products in your product backlog. This is what you want. These are the list of requirements. So you're putting it in your product backlog. So your sprint planning, essentially, you told me that you want an iPhone. How are we planning to do this iPhone? That's the overall goal. Now, the first thing we are starting with is the first requirement is build the two cameras. We've decided to build the two cameras. We are going to do what? We are going to plan, build, test it, review. After we
Reviewing.
are done, move to the front camera.
Yeah.
After it's good to go, move to the front camera. After it's good to go, move to the back camera. Not back camera, like the back case. Build the Apple
Yeah.
logo on it. After that, but all that requirements, all that list of requirements is in my product backlog.
Yeah.
This sprint meeting is now saying, guys, which one should we start with?
Mm, yeah.
And then we can now build a design a sprint around it and say, okay, for the next 2 weeks, we're working on back camera. After we are done with it, we'll move to front camera. For the next 2 weeks, we're working on front camera. So after everything is done, sprint planning, your daily scrum, by the time we are done with the back camera, we take a look at it and review. What could we have done better with this back camera? What could we do much of? Maybe 1 hour meeting most at most. And then everybody's able to move on and say, okay, nice, nice. Just to
Like,
make sure everything is agile.
yeah.
There is never a sprint that takes more than 4 weeks. What are you guys doing?
Really.
Again, the question is a question of speed. Speed. So if you take a look at this picture very well, your product backlog, who is responsible for it is the product manager. When I mean responsible for it, responsible for having that document, everything they're going to be doing. You're the product manager that has a product backlog. In some
Yeah.
organizations, the BA could also have access to the product backlog. Okay. So the sprint, you already decided that, oh, we are pricking requirement 5 and we are starting with it. Then your sprint backlog, you can now break it down. I say, okay, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do, this is what we want to do. Then you design a sprint around it 1 to 2 weeks or 1 to 3 weeks. In your 1 to 3 weeks, you're having daily scrum. That's why you can see daily. Between
Uh,
those 21 days, you're having daily scrums. Well, it's not 20, but 21 days, maybe like 12 working days. Because you can't be working on weekends. You're having daily scrum for like 12 days. And like I said, daily scrums meeting lasts between 15 minutes, max 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
yeah.
Okay. Then you ship the product, review it, and boom, again, next, 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 next. And then you continue building. Repeat the process flow for each sprint. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So what you need to remember, your Scrum team is your product owner, your Scrum master, your development team, dev team. The event, which is the ceremony, is your sprint planning, daily scrum,
It's
sprint review, sprint retrospective. Review is just, again, what do we do? How should we do it better? Retrospect is after you're done with everything, what can we possibly improve on the process?
uh,
What was yes. Review is like you reviewing stuff, but you taking a retrospect is like you taking a look at the process. How could we have improved on the process? Okay.
yeah.
Artifacts of the product's backlog. Um, okay, we should go on our break very soon. Okay. All right. Artifacts, the product backlog, sprint backlog, sprint process, progress. I've not heard this before. Again, it could be the fact that it could be a user story or anything, but I'm assuming it's not. Assuming it's not. But yeah, I think we're just going a short break now.
Yeah.
Not short, but it's like 30 minutes. And then by 9:40, we
Yeah.
can basically come back and finish up.
Okay. See
All
you
right.
then.
See you then. Hi, Mary. Let me know when you're here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So we're basically going to be talking about um finishing up on the conversation we are having about Scrum, and just give me one moment. And I'm basically just going to be walking you through. I think we're on page 23. Let me know when you can see my screen, please.
Yeah.
You can.
No, I said, yeah,
Can
yeah, I will tell you.
you see it?
Yes, now I can see.
Okay. Give me one moment. All right. So we're going to be talking about the Scrum team product owner, one person, not a committee. Product owner is responsible for managing the product, the backlog, which is this, a collection of your requirements and everything else. Okay. Is when I mean managing, management has to do with addition of it, subtraction, taking this out, taking that out. The product owner is basically um, responsible for that. And the word is interchangeably used as product owner or product manager,
Yeah,
right? Okay, so clarifies, identifies, and describes product log items, which are your requirements and all those things that should go into it. Makes decisions regarding priority of product backlog items. Okay, so is that how we do XYZ first, or we do this first, or we do that first? The judge of
yeah,
who prioritizes that is the product owner. Okay,
yeah,
ensures transparency and all that. Scrum Master, he or she guides the team in effective use of Scrum, protects the team from outside interruptions or distractions. So things like, oh, your software is not working, or your laptop is not functioning well, you need to change your laptop. Why are we not having this? Is moderating sessions, okay? Making sure
yeah,
that we are on time with the meetings, sending out meeting invites, all those things. That's basically the job of a scrum master. Okay, making sure that everyone is on board. The scrum master is responsible for ensuring that the team follows the process and the practice that the team agreed they would be. So always use external examples in your head. External examples like that referee, quote and unquote,
yes,
right? That we use. So that's the job of like the scrum master, just to make sure he's checking in, just to make sure everybody is good, everything is functioning well, and everybody's working hand to hand. The scrum master serves as the product owner and the development team. It serves the product owner. Okay, when I mean serves, it works with the product owner and then the development team, facilitates Scrum event as requested or needed, and moderates daily stand up. Moderate is like you is the one speaking. Okay, team this, what do we have from you? Team that, what do we have from you? Team engineering, team product, team design, what do we have from you guys? Okay,
yeah,
so development team is another one. They are self-organizing teams and manage their own work. Okay, no one is supervising anybody. And I mean, no one is supervising anybody. Of course, you're accountable to some people, but supervision is nobody's hands-on saying, okay, what have you done? It's like the second day that you're supposed to be self-sufficient for yourself in the sense that you should be able to work with your team members without any sort of nobody asking you to work with them. You just need to know
yeah,
that you need to work with these people. Okay, so depending on the organization you have, you can have 3 to 9 people working on the dev teams. Okay, depending on how large or how big your organization is, you could have 15 people, you could have 20 people, and you could have 3 people, right? So that's usually a development team. No one, not even the Scrum Master, tells the development team how to turn the backlogs into incremental potential release functionality. What that means is no one tells them how to build stuff. They build stuff because they're competent in building stuff. No one tells the engineers on how to write code. No one tells the designers on how to design stuff, right? I mean, you could give them guidelines on what you want to see, but they are responsible for
yeah,
actually building it, right?
yes,
Okay. Event sprint planning. I mean, this is the definition. In this meeting, the entire Scrum team plans to work for the next sprint. Okay. The the meeting is time boxed to a maximum of 8 hours for a week of sprint. So if it's 8 hours for a week of sprint, that's 5 days divided by 4, divided by 8 rather. Hold on, let me just pull up my calculator here. 8 hours for the week divided by 5 days a week. Okay, 10 bucks, a maximum of 8 hours for four. I was wondering that it's 4 weeks. I'm sorry. Give me one moment. Let me just do the math right. 8 hours divided by four
100, 200,
divided by 5
and 60, and
times
20
6.
minutes as well.
Yes, 24 minutes on the average, like 20 minutes on the average, do you get for four
Yeah,
weeks? So again, like I said, 15 to 20 minutes. So you can also see that here that it says, so it could be less. It could be like 15 minutes, it could be like 10 minutes meeting, depending on how large. It's just, oh, what do you work on yesterday? Two question. Yesterday, today. What
today.
yesterday, today? What did you work on yesterday? What are you working on today? Just to make sure everybody's up to speed with what you're working on. The work
Yeah,
is selected from the backlog, of course. Okay. Daily scrum meeting, it's time box between, right? 15 minutes max for the development team to synchronize. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And
yeah,
this is general, okay? This is a general thing. It's a general thing. What did you work on yesterday? What are you doing today? Do I see any impediments that prevents me or the team from reaching its sprint goals? That's all the questions you ask, moderated by the Scrum Master. So
yeah,
the Scrum Master is basically handling that. Okay, what's stopping you from building this thing today? What's stopping you from deploying today? Oh, my system is not working. Do you need a change of system? Okay, I'll talk to the team. I'll talk to this. I'll talk to that. Do you
yeah.
get?
Yes.
All right. So in a match when these guys get injured, who is the person responsible for calling the medical team into the field to come and attend to the guys? It's the referee. The referee will blow his whistle and then signal to them like, "Oh, come, we think we have an injury here." So think of the scrum master as the referee again. Do you
True.
understand?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. This is an informal 4 hour time box sprint review. 4 hour time. I mean, this is not always defined. It could be more. It could be less. Nobody's saying it should be more than 4 hours, but it's just standard practice. Do you get? Standard
yeah,
practice says you should take a shower for about 10 minutes. Doesn't mean you can't spend 30 minutes in the shower if you are crying. Do you understand? It's just standard practice. Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah,
It's just standard practice that you spend like 10 minutes in the shower and you don't take too much time in the shower. Okay. So all these things are standard practice. Doesn't mean there are some scenarios whereby you are in a you're in a 10-hour sprint review meeting. The Scrum team and the stakeholders collaborate about what was done in the sprint, adapt and adapt the product backlog if needed. Okay. Sprint retrospective. Okay. From experience, this is the most important event ever. Why is it the most important event ever? It's again, you're trying to basically look at that process or what you guys did and improve on it for the next sprint. So this is a 3 hour time box meeting which occurs after the sprint review and prior to the next sprint meeting. Okay. Or the sprint
yeah,
pre-planning rather. During the retrospective, the scrum team inspects how the last sprint went regards the process, most importantly. Okay, is there an approval process? Okay, Tomoa and Mary were waiting for 2 days for their product manager to sign on the design. Is there something that we can do that this guy doesn't have, we don't have to wait for 2 days again? It's just
yeah.
30 minutes approval process and then we're able to move on to the next thing because that saves our time. That is being all being discussed during the sprint retrospective.
Retrospective.
Should get.
Yeah,
So you're eliminating waste, okay, and improving on the plan. That's what you're doing in the retrospective. Artifact, your product backlog is where you have your features, your user stories, your supplements. Again, backlog is just where you have all those documents, user documentation, task. You just have it. It says the product backlog is a list of to-do items regarding the product they're trying to build. Do you get?
yes,
Of course, there are different places. There are different systems that you can use to keep your products backlogs. Okay. All right,
yes,
sprint backlogs. In your sprint backlogs, you have your sprint backlog itself, you have the to do, in progress, done. Sprint
yes,
backlog basically helps you track the entire daily stand-ups that you've been doing. So these are your user requirements in your products backlog. You
yeah,
transfer them here. The ones that you have to do, you put them here. The ones that you have in process that your team is currently working on, you put them here. The ones that you have in your that isn't done, you transfer them here. By the time you're done with it, this guy never finishes. Why does he never finish? First of
Because
all,
the
what's inside
product
here?
now. What?
What's inside of here? What do you put inside of here?
Like your requirements.
Good. And why is it never finishing if you're working on this?
And because it's a product and products are never
Good.
ending.
Good. Which means there's always a modification, there's always an improvement, there's always a like
Yeah.
request for something to be done. So it's never finishing. It's just reducing, or increasing at some point. So you're just taking it out. Someone is adding something new. You're taking it out. Someone is adding something new. So your sprint backlog, the to-dos that you have to have, you put it there in progress, in process, or in progress. The ones that are completed or done, you put them in done. Then next, completed or done, you put them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So another thing is your sprint progress, which is basically like the burn down chart, is where you can now see like usually a burn down chart. You know, I explained it to you. That's when you can now see that, oh,
Yeah.
team, look at the amount of stuff that we had in progress within 3 months. Look at the amount of stuff that we have to do within 3 months. Look at the things that we're able to finish up within 3 months. So the product owner or the product manager can now look at it and say, guys, I think we need to sit down with each other and then deliberate on how to improve stuff. Do you understand?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. Just give me one moment. Just give me one moment. I wanted to show you a cheat sheet. Let me just share. Can you see this other screen?
Yes. Agile
Okay.
and Scrum cheat sheet.
Yes, this is an Agile and Scrum cheat sheet. So Agile has four value areas. Okay, just like the same way business analysis has key value areas. Just give me one moment. Just give me one moment. One moment, please. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we have four Agile values. This is a like general principle. Okay. Individuals and interactions is one. Okay. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. What that means is that in Agile, individuals interact. Individuals must interact. It's not the integration of systems that interact. Individuals have to be able to come together. Most of the if you have an agile environment, most of these things are just usually informal. You're meeting with your manager, like you're telling him, sir, I need to not sir, but hi Bob, we need to discuss concerning this. So they prioritize individuals interacting over you sending an email, sending a letter saying, oh, we need to sit down and meet. You can just meet them on the highway. If you guys are working remotely, yes, the team's message will suffice, or depending on the platform that you're using, but like individuals must be able to interact. So a voice call, video call. So most of these meetings you're recording it just to make sure that you don't lose focus, or most of these meetings you're like writing stuff out just to make sure you don't lose track of it.
Yes.
So in Agile, the values are prioritized as individuals and interactions. They're very prioritized over processes and tools. Okay, working software. There must be a working software. Okay, in the sense that something has to work. You can't be in agile and you cannot have a working you not afford to have a working software. The software has to work. It has to be working. Okay. Customer collaboration.
Software like what? I don't
No,
understand.
when I mean working software, the product that you're trying to build has to work.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
It's not like a particular software. No, like you can't say you guys are coming together in the name of agile and there's like the product needs to be able to work. That's what
Yeah.
working software means. Over
Oh, okay.
comprehensive documentation. Comprehensive documentation is cho. Make sure something is working. Like this product that you're trying to build, we understand that the fact that you're trying to gather a lot of requirements, but the most important thing is the product has to be working.
Yeah.
over comprehensive documentation.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Customer collaboration is back when they say collaboration is there's opinion, there's a place whereby there's room for opinion, there's room for changes, there's room for improvements from, and these ideas are being shared with your customers over contract negotiation that, oh, this is what I want. And you remember when we spoke about conflict, and then they said conflicts, there are ways you can resolve conflict. There's a one-way type of conflict, there is one person that wins. There's when there's collaboration of two people bring their own opinions together, and then they can get to a particular conclusion. So collaboration is you give me your opinion, I give you my opinion, and then we're able to run from
Um.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Responding to change is also very important. Okay. Over following a plan. Over following a plan is just a shade to waterfall. You have to be able to respond to change when they come in.
Yeah.
If it's a market change, if it's an internal change, if it's a stakeholder change, you need to be able to respond to a change as opposed to, oh, we already said we are going to do this. Now this is here. Let's move on from this and do the next thing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's the key value. That's the key value areas. Agile principles. Okay. These are 12 standard principles. I mean, if you search on Agile's 12 standard principles as well online, it's what's going to come out. It's a universal principle. It's the same thing all over the world. Satisfy the customer. If you come here, it says satisfy customer. Do you understand? Let's take
Yeah.
another document. Satisfy the customer. So it's general thing that the principle of Agile is you need to satisfy your customers first. You need to welcome changing requirements. You need to deliver working solutions frequently. You need to work together. You need to support and trust your teammates on the project, and face-to-face conversation is preferred over when they say face-to-face. Now it's a remote environment. Video calls, audio calls are preferred over text or over
Yeah.
emails, right? Working solution are the primary measures of the progress. Okay, you have to have a working solution. Sustainable development. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Sustaining development in the sense that your sprint, you're consistent with it. Okay.
Yeah.
The time frame for your sprints are being consistent. All right. And then you have technical excellence. Of course, how do you demonstrate that a company is very agile is when they have technical excellence. Apple is very agile because of its technical excellence. Amazon, Facebook, because of the technical excellence. That's how you say they're agile. Simplicity, which is you're not making anything too cumbersome. Your user stories are precise. Who, what, and why. That's it. Okay. Self-organizing teams. They should be able to organize. Nobody has to tell you that, oh, are you not supposed to design this? You need to take initiative and be able to know that you need to design this as at when due. Okay.
Yes.
All right, just give me one. All right. And you need to be able to reflect and then adjust. Okay? And that's about it for the 12 principles. Okay? We already spoke about the Scrum rules, product owner, developers, Scrum Master. We spoke about them already. We spoke about the events. You can see it's literally the same thing in like all these terminologies are the same thing, right? We spoke
Yeah.
about the sprints. The sprint is a fixed length of events up to a month in length, where all the work is completed to turn ideas into value. In other words, product. Okay.
Yeah.
Considered the heartbeat of Scrum. The heartbeat of Scrum. This is sprint is the heartbeat of Scrum because if you're talking about Scrum, you're talking about teams working hand in hand to be able to move things forward. And for them to be able to do that, there has to be a length of time for them to be able to sprint and do stuff and complete stuff. So it's about start to finish. You're having sprints in Scrum. So in Agile, you have Agile, which is the overall talking about being iterative and being quick to implementing stuff. Then you have Scrum. Remember that I said that under the methodology of Agile, we have Scrum, we have Kanban, we have the
That's,
programming. Yeah,
yeah.
I forget the name of that, but you have the programming, experiencing programming language or something. But we're talking about Scrum now. Scrum is, like I said, you working hand in hand in close proxy with your teammates to be able to achieve that goal. And how do you do this? The next thing you consider is a sprint. Sprint is the within this constrained time, we need to be able to achieve this. And how do you implement Scrum? There is a daily Scrum meeting, there is a daily stand up, there is the sprint planning, there is a sprint retrospect. Do you get? There is a sprint review as well. Okay, do you want me to explain that again? Again, I will.
The sprint.
No. So there is agile in
Yeah,
business analysis overall. Think of yourself as the waiter or the waitress in a restaurant. You're taking in orders. Be versat like that picture is basically clear enough.
yeah,
Then from there, for you to be able to be an efficient business analyst, you're working in the world of where your users are giving you requirements and then you're taking those requirements to your tech team and telling them about what the users want, correct? In order
yeah,
for you to be able to make sure that you are very, very quick to responding to these user requirements needs or changes that happen in the environment, there has to be a method you have to follow to doing
yeah,
these things. For you to be an effective or an efficient waitress, there has to be a method that you need to follow. And that method is you need to be agile, you need to be quick. You're talking to 20 different people at a time, you're talking to 300 customers at a time. You need to be quick to be doing that. And that's why they invented Agile. You need to be agile. So that's a method of you basically carrying out your job as a BA. Again, Agile is a mindset. We already spoke about that mindset essentially and how that mindset can basically improve or help you churn out good work, right? So that Agile, we now defined it and then said for you to have a proper agile, right? There has to be something they call Scrum. Scrum is underneath it, right? Scrum is you working in close proxy with your team members to ensure that each and everybody achieves their certain goal. Okay, we spoke about the artifacts in Agile, which is basically the evidence, right? The product backlog, all those things are artifacts. And then we spoke about the ceremonies that you have, which is the events that you have in Agile, right? The daily stand-ups, um, Scrum, the daily Scrum, the Scrum planning, the Scrum retrospective, the Scrum review. Those are the things you talk about. Do you
yeah,
understand?
yeah,
And then we basically just went from there and then said that okay, for you to be able to do these things, there has to be a sprint, right? Sprint is okay within the constrained time, within a month or two. This is the amount of work we want to be able to churn out to develop this product. That's a sprint. It's just you estimating. Oh, let's have a sprint for this. Sprint for how long is the sprint? Oh, I think 2 weeks should be during. How you determine the sprint is during the planning, of course, which is when you guys sit down together. Like, how long should this sprint be for? Developers would say 3 weeks. Guys will say 2 weeks. Some guys will say, we think it's 4 weeks. So you guys will come to a conclusion and say this sprint should be for 3 weeks. Do you get
yeah, yeah.
start and finish? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. All right. Just give me one moment. All right. So we already spoke about this. Okay. All right. So I was going to talk about. Give me one moment. Oh, it's already 2 hours mark already. Let me see. Let me see. I can't drop the screen right now. Mm. Okay, so this document I will share, all these documents I will share with you. I mean, I was already able to talk about waterfall and agile methodology, but you can
Yeah.
as well just go through them in your leisure. And if you have any questions, you can ask. Next week, we're going to be talking about user stories. We're going to be writing a lot of user stories. Again,
Okay.
Hmm?
I said okay.
Yeah. So user stories again is just simple. Who, what, and why. If you come here now, you see that?
Yeah.
And that's how you write a user story. So essentially, this stuff we spoke about, all these things we spoke about that goes into the product backlog, which are the user stories, we'll talk about them in detail tomorrow. Okay. All
Okay,
right,
yeah.
so just prepare your mind that tomorrow we're going to be writing a lot of user stories. I'm going to give a lot of examples tomorrow, and we can always just like move from there. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me just stop the recording today. Um, do you have any other questions? Okay. So
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, and this stuff will be uploaded on the Google Drive, yeah. Hello?
yeah, I'm listening to you.
Yeah,